I genuinely hate Eric's character so much. So yeah, let's get into this. This is the review for American Crime Season 2, Episode 5, I believe. Yeah. And it starts off with Taylor having to do this interview. Well, not interview. I almost want to call it I guess his deposition, technically, where he's speaking to the police about his rape. And it gets really awkward because his mom is there and he has to talk about what the text messages that went along with what eventually happened. And the issue is that it got really graphic, and a lot of the abbreviated terminology was used. And so it got really weird because one thing was like CTM, no, or was it C to C or something like that, and it just meant quick to come. And it was awkward because his mom is right there and he was like, I like it rough, and choke me out and pound me and do all this stuff. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, so this isn't going to look good for you, man. This is not going to look good for you. How can you go and say that you were raped, but your text messages show that you liked it rough and that's what you wanted? And it was like, so they asked him, was Eric your first encounter with a guy? And it was like, no. Who was it? Well, there was another one before me. And it was like, did this guy also know about your preferences? It was like, no, only Eric. And it's like, why Eric? Because he made me feel safe. And it was like, so with his text messages and all of this other stuff, how do you expect us to believe that, or why would we believe that you didn't consent to this? And it was like, I didn't consent to, I went there and things escalated quickly, and as a result, I didn't want to do any of that, but I didn't even get the chance to say anything because I had a drink and it felt like I was having an outer body experience. And it was like I was there, but the door was there and I was just screaming for help in my mind, but I couldn't control myself. I felt my body moving and I felt my mouth opening, but something was in it. And I was just like, oh, damn, this is so messed up. See, my whole thing is I fully believe that Kevin is aware of something else going on. Some people are speculating that Kevin might have also partaken in what happened, but I don't think that he necessarily did. I don't think that he stopped it. I think that's where fault lies with Kevin. And I think that Eric has this whole this macho concept of what a guy is. And so it's like, how can you say that you were raped when in the text messages you said you liked it rough and all this? This is Eric's side when he's talking to the police. And it was like, he liked to do this, he liked to do that, and his mom can't handle it. His mom walks out. His mom is just like, you know what? Nah, no, I'm out of here. And his dad, I was surprised because the older men on the show, they're showing a lot more, I don't know if the word's understanding or less quick to judge when it comes to these their younger sons potentially partaking in sexual contact with a man and rape and all this stuff. You see the moms going off and flipping out, all the moms, and you see the guys just kind of like falling back. It's like, all right, let me wait this out and see what's going on before I react. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of refreshing because I think in the real world, it really would be more so the men fully disregarding it or just going ham on their sons for like, what the, did you possibly, and it, but so there's that. And like I said, Eric is on this whole, oh, alpha male, he wanted it, he wanted this, how can it be rape? How can he say it's rape? Nah. And I'm just like, what the hell happened to Eric to make him think that he has to act this way? Because his father, from what we see, seems pretty even keel. So I'm like, where did he build this macho man persona? And then I think, all right, so either he's gay or bisexual, whatever it is. He clearly is trying to, even though he's gay and partakes in sexual activity with men, or at least with Taylor, he's not fully comfortable with his identity, and as a result, he has to show this persona of, I'm this alpha male, and regardless of what I do, it doesn't matter because I'm the man type of thing. Hate him, I really do, but there's a lot of character development that could go on there, so that's interesting. So Taylor's mom is trying to figure out, okay, what's going on? So why do you like that kind of stuff? And not just about being a man, she's like, no, about liking it rough and all this. And so she really, really wants to figure out what is wrong with her son, essentially. It's like, why didn't you tell me about any of this? Why didn't you tell anyone about any of this? And in my mind, I'm thinking, it's not your business. And then it's like, oh, no, that's his mom. So, of course, it's going to be his business if it becomes an issue like it did. But, so yeah. After that, we have the coach's wife. I don't know her name. The coach's wife is talking to the head dean, the head principal. You know, the woman that we hate this season. Felicia. I think that's her real name. Felicity? Whatever. So they're talking, and long story short, the head principal is trying to convince her to tell her husband that, yo, you need to go and check him and have him check the coaches. Of course, she's doing it in this whole politically back talk, borderline talking down to her. I really hate her. But you get what I'm saying. So after that, we have Kevin, who's meeting up with some of the guys from the team, and it's like, yeah, so do you think this is going to blow over type of thing? Do you think we'll be good? And he's just like, look, I don't know. I really don't know. And I'm thinking to myself, Kevin, what do you know that you're not telling? And I understand that because he's the oldest and it was his party, that he is held liable as well. But what is he keeping? What secret is he keeping? Because there is something that we're not getting, and it's really important that we know. So eventually he's going to break. He's going to break. Someone's going to slip. It has to happen soon enough. So afterwards, you have Taylor talking with this counselor, and it's just trying to figure out how he's feeling and what's going on. And Taylor is recanting his experience about he feels alone right now. He feels defenseless. He feels hurt. He wants to hide. He wants to essentially crawl in the ditch and die. That's how I'm taking it. And so Evie, who's Taylor's girlfriend, they meet up, and she's basically saying this. I don't care if you're gay, but why are you dating me? Why do you want to be with me? Do you see me as a guy? Do you see me as a man? When you tell me to grind on you, is that why? When you hold me down and pound on me, is that why? Do you want me to be a man? What do you want from me? Do you even want me? And so he's just like, look, you're great. I'm just dealing with what's going on with me right now, so I just can't. I just can't. So she then has to go and do a interview with the guy from, not the guy, I'm sorry, with one of the detectives, and it gets really interesting because, again, she recants the party, and there's an integral question that's asked. The detective asks her, so do you think Taylor was intentionally drunk, essentially? Intentionally drunk, inebriated? No. Do you think that he was in control of his actions at that point? Or something of that nature. And she says, look, I think that something happened to him. I don't know what, because I wasn't there to see it. Well, she was saying rape. I fully believe that he was raped. And the detective's like, well, you weren't there. It's like, yeah, I wasn't there, but he looked hurt. He looked scared. Something happened to him, and I refuse to let anyone say otherwise. And I'm like, thank you. I know you're hurt right now, and hurt people hurt others, but at least she was mature enough to realize something happened to him and I need to stand up for him even though I don't like him at this point. And so then you have Eric talking with his father, and his father's also trying to figure out, okay, what the hell's really going on? But he doesn't want to know. So you have Eric trying to be honest with him. Is like, so do you want to know what happened or why, or this or that? And his father's just like, no, and just walks away. And I'm just like, damn it, that's the issue. Eric feels alone and abandoned even though he's surrounded by people. He can't express himself, so he has Taylor and he has this other older guy who we still have to figure out what's going on with that storyline, if they're going to pursue it any longer. But I'm like, okay, now I'm starting to see the reason why Eric is the way he is. And then we have the principal at the lower income school who's dealing with the fact that I think they're Mexican, Hispanic, I think Mexican. The kids who are Mexican, they're pissed because their friend got expelled and they're trying to figure out why. Why did it happen? It was like, well, them, the blacks. And it's like, how are you saying the blacks? It was one person being beat on, who was black, getting beat on by a couple of Mexicans or Hispanics. And I understand his issue because I don't know if he's mixed with like black and Hispanic or what, or if he really is just like Mexican or Latin or Spanish. Wherever he is, he has this whole identity issue where he holds his people to a higher standard and also looks down on their actions more so than anyone else. He'll stick up for everyone else before he sticks up for them. And I see that now. And it's really messed up. It really is. It really, really, really is. Because it's like, if your own can't look out for you, then who can? And so we have Taylor who's in the bathroom. And of course he's just washing up, getting ready to go. And this guy, I'm guessing it's the guy that he had the relationship with in 8th grade. I'm assuming that's who it is, because we don't hear who he is. And they almost kiss, but then Taylor kind of just scurries away out of fear and all the stuff that's happened to him, understandably so. And his mom is so mortified, upset, and hurt at the fact that the police won't pursue the case. They won't pursue the case because there's not enough circumstantial evidence to take it to trial or really prosecute anyone. So she has to go and tell him, and he looks relieved because it's like, is it over? Will you stop pursuing this? Are we done with this? Are we? And she says, all right, we're done. We're done. I'll stop. You know she's not going to stop, though. You know this is his mom we're talking about. So we have Terry and Andre, Kevin's parents, trying to figure out, okay, they're not pursuing a case because there's not enough evidence. So what does that mean for Kevin? And what that means for Kevin is he is still, he's not under investigation at this moment. That's all it means. That means if the case gets brought back up, he'll still have to go on trial and do all this stuff. And of course, Terry isn't having it. It's like, my son, he didn't do anything, and they won't drop the charges against him. And so then she storms off to go and be with Kevin. And Andre's left there with the attorney or whoever she is. And I love this moment because Andre says, don't quote me on this, but Andre says something to the effect of, you know what? Don't mistake me for not being irate and hysterical and upset just because I'm more calm or calmer than my wife. Don't mistake calmness for being even keel at this moment compared to what my wife is. Don't make her look like she's a hysterical woman who is upset because her son is potentially in trouble. I feel the same way she does. I'm just keeping it together. So don't talk to me like I'm just this great, cool guy, this man, and my wife is just this hysterical woman. And you appreciate me for being so calm about this. And I'm like, you know, the men on the show, not the teens because they're ratchet, but the men on the show, the adult males, I really love the fact that, with the exception of one of them, that most of them have it together. I'm like, this is a prime example of how guys should be, how they should act. But you go back to the scene and you have the, I'm going to go and just say Hispanic, Spanish, Latin, Mexican, that gambit of students, and they're protesting. They're protesting because they don't think it's fair. They feel like they're taking sides. And so then you see the oh, I hate her. You know, the person who I hate the most on this show, which is the dean. She just talking with the board members about how you have a black. Oh, no, she didn't say it like that. She said it like you have one black, you have one gay, and they're both coaches, not coaches, but captains on the basketball team, and we need to do something about this. And it's like, all right, so who do we stand behind, or who do we have as a spokesperson, and who do we bury? And so essentially Kevin's going to get screwed in this one, because they're going to use Taylor to go on a whole media campaign, get in front of this, use him to make it seem like, you know what? He is out in the open. He is honest. Everyone else is full of it. As far as Taylor's full of it. Eric is not. And we're going to go with that. And Kevin, screw Kevin. There's only 3 other black families, or 3 black families in total. So they can't do that much damage as far as us not showing him support. So you have the coach's wife and daughter talking because his their family member, she's trying to explain to her daughter about how, you know, your aunt, she feels guilty because this guy gave her number and she didn't throw it away. And it's like, why would she feel guilty? She didn't do anything. It's like, yes, she did do something. Yes, she did. She kept it. And so that made her feel bad because it's saying, damn, someone was able to infiltrate my marriage or my relationship, and I didn't just say no. I didn't pursue anything, but taking that number does mean more than what her daughter could comprehend at that moment. And, you know, you have, what's his face, Taylor thinking about Luke because Luke sent him a text and he's just trying to figure things out and what he wants, what he really doesn't want. Eric, his life is falling to crap because his brother, I don't know if his brother's mad that he's gay and mad that he tried to kill himself and that it hurt mom, or if it's just that he hurt mom because of the fact that he tried to kill himself. And because he's gay. I mean, because his mom clearly isn't for it. She's not here for it at all. She's not condoning the behavior. And so you have that. And the coach is celebrating his wife's birthday. Side note, why did they have so many candles on it? I'm like, damn. Was that... It looked like maybe half of what her age really was is what they put on the candle, on the cake. Because it looked like it had at least maybe 20-something candles on it. I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot. They might as well just cover the whole damn cake. And so they're having this argument because she's trying to explain to him that our daughter doesn't get the concept of commitment and love. And so he doesn't see a big deal about it. And so then she goes on, she's like, what's wrong with you? And so that's when she tells him, you know, and the dean pretty much tried to get me to convince you to talk to the boys and do this and do that. And he's starting to see that that woman really is evil, and there's just something wrong and crooked with her. I could have told him that, but you know, some people have to learn the hard way. Some people have to learn the hard way. So Terry is talking with Andre, and it's just like, look, we're going to forge forward. We're going to put on a brave face. We're going to go out, and we're going to go to this play, and we're going to enjoy it. And it's interesting because the dean, when she's making a speech at the play, she's making a speech, and it really hits home with the coach, because the coach hears her say about, this is about being real and honest with yourself and putting that above everything else. And so the dancers dance, and they did, of course, a great job. It was interpretive dance or something like that. And I thought it was interesting because I felt like it really kind of mirrored what was going on with Taylor and Eric, and how people were abandoning Taylor and all this. They definitely wove that storyline into the dance. And so there's this guy who's talking to Anna because he took a deal. His daughter was never touched or violated physically, but the teacher was sexually harassing her, and the school essentially tried to flip it and make it seem like she did something to him. So they took a settlement, but he was saying how he regretted it. And that was just her pep talk to say, don't give up. Stronger than the storm. This is not the end. You are not the only one. So, shout out to anyone who knows what song that came from. By Linkin Park. Steve Aoki. I just give it away. But anyway, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Come back for next week. Thanks.